So on tonight's eFIXX TV, we give away 3 lots of safe isolation kits in association with Test Instrument Solutions as part of our Safer September campaign. However, according to the title, it's time for us as members of eFIXX team and you, the community on YouTube, to fess up. And have we had an electric shock? And the stats are startling, and we'll go through those today. I'd just like to say at this moment in time, there is no way on earth we're condoning either working live or receiving an electric shock. It only takes one incident and can cause somebody to lose their life, and we've seen many examples across social media of those tragic events. We've also got the great people from the Luceco lighting group joining us this evening, and they will be taking on the race wall. Now, if he was a character maybe from Mr. Men, I would call this week's contestant Mr. Slow. Come on, let's go in and get started.
Well, and thank you for joining us. I am actually pleased that people can join us because we put a poll out this afternoon on our community tab, and let's face it, quite a shocking, literally a shocking statistic that out of our viewers, out of 1,300 people who answered that survey, have you received an electric shock? 90% of the viewers have. So you're probably lucky that you're here to watch it. And that's what we're going to touch on tonight, Gary, while we digest that shocking number.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give you a few moments there just to think about that. And obviously, first of all, thank you for everyone's honesty. But again, we'll just give you a few minutes just to think about that so you can start putting your comments in. Before we do that, we'd obviously like to thank everybody that allows us to bring out this stream fortnightly to you, whether it be on Facebook or whether it be on YouTube. We'd like to thank the wonderful people, and they're here tonight from the Luceco group, as we've got Luceco lighting in. We've also got the other wonderful brands such as BG and BG Sync EV for their EV chargers as well, supporting these live streams that come out every fortnight. We've also got the Luceco group, as well as, I can't remember who else.
Doncaster Cables.
Have we?
Yeah.
Doncaster Cables, who else have we got?
My Energy.
Yeah.
Luden Palazzoli.
Yeah.
Luceco group.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got all those great people. Let's just thank Luden Palazzoli, Doncaster Cables, and My Energy for supporting this live stream. It goes out every fortnight. So we're going to be thinking about, obviously, this subject, and we're going to delve into it in a second. But if you want to get into the register, you've just got to leave a comment. I think this is going to be one of those ones where comments are going to be flying in. And at the end of the show, we'll go through the register and see how many people are new or are perhaps regular viewers, whether they be on YouTube or on Facebook. I'm feeling a bit nervous about this opening section, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And we're midway through our Safer September campaign, and we're going to give some prizes out later on, but I can actually reveal, I think we're moving on as a community in terms of, you know, getting the word out there about safe isolation and best practice and things like that, because I can actually reveal, Gary, so far in Safer September, over 1,000 people have taken the CPD, and I'd like to think that's not because you think you're just going to win a fantastic TIS safe isolation kit, but you actually want to keep yourself safe and spread the word on safe isolation. But I thought we'd just dial it back a bit, because I've been out this week with a large industrial user where safe isolation is very important to them, because in the past they have had some fatalities within their organisation. So obviously if you're in an organisation, that becomes hugely up the agenda. And it took me back actually to where I started my career, because I started in plant maintenance. And we're going to talk about people having an electric shock. And it is pretty serious, and sometimes you always think when you've had one, how did that happen? Was that my fault? Was it someone else? Was it a trainer fault? And we're going to touch on some examples that we've had, and we are lucky to be here to survive, and some people don't. But I'll take you back to the first shock I ever had, and I've had a few, and that is not a good thing. I'll tell you. So I started in plant maintenance in a PCB industry. I've got a picture here of. This is a PCB etch line. It doesn't matter what it is, but I grew up in the northeast. We were a 2-car family.
Oh, wow. Posh up there in them days, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2-car family. And so we had 1 car on the road, and we had a donor car. We used to rob bits off to keep the main car on the road. And this was the same in this factory. They had 2 etch lines. One was redundant and was basically would be sold off as component parts. But we used to, should we say, dip into that machine to rescue spare parts.
Okay, makes logical sense.
Yep. So not in use. I think my camera angle there, I'm not in use, I'm half in there.
Oh, okay, where are you?
That's
a terrible camera angle. I'll tell you, we'll be getting rid of Rick next week.
Yeah, he's back to college. So you can put it on main camera, but we can bring it back in. But we used to go in there to get spare parts. Yeah. So the machine hadn't been used for years.
Okay.
The isolators, the cable feeding it had been disconnected. It was fed by a bus bar, disconnected it, yeah. And one day I was in there, I just thought, I'm on another project, I just could do with a few G rails. It was before the DIN rails, even terminals came in. You'd be on a
G rails.
on the DIN rail terminals, on a G rail. And I thought I just wanted some terminals out of it. And I went in there to take some DIN rail terminals out and ended up getting a shock.
Hang on, in the donor one?
In the donor machine, yeah.
Well, that's impossible.
Yeah.
You said it wasn't connected, it's been stripped for parts. There's no way it could be, there'd be no logical reason why you'd even presume it was connected to a supply if it's been, you know, effectively deboned for parts.
Yeah, and I could have tested the main terminals and stuff and it would have proved completely dead.
Yeah.
But what I found out was there was next to it was an effluent plant outside. Someone had, on the shift maintenance, you're always under pressure to keep production running. So somebody had solved the problem.
Right.
They'd come from outside, from a effluent plant, gone into the abandoned machine, used a timer and contactor set, and back out again to feed a piece of kit outside.
Wow, just hang on. Let's have a moment there. That's a lottery moment for you as a person, because you're in there. You're probably even acting as if things are normal, and you know, we can argue about that as well. If you understood something was maybe you were doing a bit of fault finding, you thought something might be live, you'll act in a completely different way. But you're in there and it's live.
And it's just a few terminals, yeah, but they just happened to be the terminals I was about to borrow for another project.
And received a shock.
Yeah.
Can you describe the comment you might have given at the machine that was not connected to the power supply that now is energised?
It's one of those, you almost didn't believe. I almost went back in for a second helping because I didn't know, because you don't believe what has just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And you're in shock.
Let's go back to the northeast.
Yeah.
It's like your dad one day jumped in the donor car and drove it to the pub. Yeah. It's like
exactly.
It can't work because half the bits are missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so you think, could he have prevented it? Well, you'd have to physically test every terminal we're using in the machine. But that's, plant maintenance is a pressured environment for lots of people. And people talk about working live. And obviously, there was always certain people you knew would cut more corners than others.
And again, we're going back many years now. We're not talking about this was a fortnight ago. We're going back right early in both of our careers. So when we're talking about these stories, I'm probably 18, 19, 20. So we're going back about 30 years. And you're about 36, 37 in the same era that we're doing this then, Gordon. Yeah. So that could be one of those ones that ends in one of those stories that people hear forever.
Yeah.
You know, how Mr. Routley's got an electric shock of a machine that wasn't even connected to the supply. Difficult story. And I would suggest, I don't know how you would overcome that. I think that is the true definition of an accident, isn't it? An unplanned event or occurrence. You didn't plan to get electric shock, you know, it just happened to you. That's a difficult one.
Bad practice from other people in the team is what caused it. If you just bring that picture back in, Rick, and I'll just show you the sort of how close you get. That's a drain on the floor.
Yep.
And normally these areas you could have, if something else had leaked or something, you could be in a few inches of water, but they tend to be wet. They're wet process areas. Everything's IP rated. Right. And so you're not in a...
Everything's going against you.
Everything's going against you.
Yeah, okay. Wow, okay, that's a toughie. And again, that's an example of electric shock where, you know, nothing to do. I'll fess up. I mean, I've got one for you. Probably the last time I ever received electric shock. I haven't had many. I mean, and having taught for so long as well, super important. I'd just like to say that I think in installation practices back 30 years ago, we were a bit average to do with safe isolation. I must admit, you know, it was a bit of an average process. I may have done it during training, but I certainly didn't remember it in my early electrical career. Never refreshed it. So it was never done as a yearly toolbox talk. So we're trying to get people to refresh theirs every year by doing the CPD. So of course, you're not really got it at the forefront of your mind. And then of course, I'll be honest, there's some other issues for me. It's late in the day. It's in the darker night. So we're talking a February time. I'm trying to get a cable into a consumer unit in order to energise a circuit that's been wired. And with all the power off, the light in the hallway, which is behind me, I'm under the stairs. There's no understairs lighting. And it's difficult because back then, so again, no excuse, but let's think how things have improved so much. I've got a static torch, Gordon. It either points up and lights a spot on the understairs, or it points forward and doesn't ever point where you need it. I think Joe Robinson did a classic example with his child in the car in a torch video that we did recently. Yeah, I've got no option with this torch. It's not an excuse. It's a terrible way of even suggest it. So I decided in my wisdom to make it easier for me to see what I was doing which should have been come back the next day. Shouldn't have been that day. It was not that important. My life was way more important. I obviously worked in that board life. So to leave the light on behind me along with the torch, which gave me the best opportunity, I am now at the end of a working day. It's certainly dark outside. I am an understairs cupboard and I am very hot. So my body resistance has changed. Obviously, I'm in a position where if I receive an electric shock, which grips me rather than releases me, I'm in a confined space. It might be very difficult to throw me off. And I've caught the back of my hand in a position I've caught the back of hand and bang, I've gone. Now, if I turn that hand around and found that my muscles had contracted, I might have held on to something that I didn't need to be on. So I was very, very fortunate. And yeah, I think that was the moment that I decided that I'm considerably more important than energising a circuit on a February evening before I go home. There's always tomorrow. There certainly wouldn't have been tomorrow for me if I'd have had an accident that would have been worse than electric shock. And yeah, lucky's the word I would suggest on there. A lot of things, you know, and it was all my own fault. So, and like yours, totally my own fault, and I fess up to that one. So, those people that have obviously lost people and all the rest of it, you could have easily put myself in that bracket, and then that wouldn't have been a very clever move, would it? At all.
Yeah, and lots of people saying, you know, safe isolation, they weren't taught safe isolation. No. And interestingly, equipment, because Eddie sent us in some stuff from one of your early installs, Gary. The old eFIXX Widowmaker.
Yeah, we'll bring the hand cam in as well. So this is the first time in a long time I've actually seen a wood screw actually in the right place to hold a consumer unit cover on. So 4 wood screws around the outside, and we'll obviously take this off, we'll get them all loose.
And this is what we used to deal with.
So once we're in here, okay, the switch itself, I've managed to get it off in the position it was in. Okay, so we've got a nice piece of brass work here that will be connected through the line connection here, and there's the line one there. We've obviously got the neutral this side as well. So all of this here is open to touch. In the future, they managed to put a plastic cap on here that also got lost, that people put on here. But look how much live metal work was open to touch with a switch that didn't need to be operated in this style of consumer unit in order to isolate it.
And down was on.
Yeah, they did the down, on, ups, off, all the rest of it. Wrong way round on them, so is that on or is that off? So as we push that back up, we can see off. Yeah, okay, so then they're reversed. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess all round. Everything else people would argue is incorrect about it. Entering this enclosure live was the mistake if you were to go in there. Once you got in there, they presumed that you weren't going in there live. But of course, we can see our practices is vastly improved. We haven't got IP2X now, have we? We can touch live parts. If you go into a modern day consumer unit, IP2X applies at the top of an MCB and the rest of the actual bus bar that livens up. You cannot touch any live parts. So therefore, another level of protection against electric shock that wasn't present in this older consumer unit. So yeah, that's one from Eddie. So thank you. Person of the year, eFIXX's Person of the Year. Fantastic for sending me that, Eddie, as always. And again, coming useful just to illustrate that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you're right about the wood screws. And that's a problem, and people have rightly said in the comments, yes, temporary, permanent was something I learned in plant maintenance. You do it temporary and then it's permanent for a long time.
Yeah.
And people, because you never get to go back. And an interest, we have got more stuff we're working on this about not just the safe isolation, but how you manage it in the real world.
Yeah.
And getting some feedback for some people who are doing a fantastic job on that. And they have to deal with lots of legacy equipment. And the problem is, that's, quite old, but in a lot of industries, you'll be walking into a job where you might still find stuff like this.
Yeah, when you talk about machinery, if it costs you today's equivalent of 6 million quid back in the day, you're not going to be chucking that away because today's equivalent of 6 million quid might be 60 million quid on a machinery. So things that were built in this era, which we've now gone, we've thrown that away and gone again. A machine doing a process, it's too valuable to get rid of it, but harbours the technology that is not as safe as ones that would be now built, is it? There'd be their open metalwork to touch. And you said, and we're not going to touch on it too much here, that the place you went to in the Midlands had like almost a hierarchy of ability. And then obviously that became a part of the process as well when you looked at safety, which was really clever. So it's good. Yeah. So that's 2 examples. You've got another.
I'll give you another
classic.
Everyone, if you've worked in industry, it's pretty bad. If you ever worked on a farm electrics or normally something else. So we've got a picture of a farm there, Rick. And actually,
that's that one.
That's not a farm. Looks like a farm. So there we go. There's a farm. Now the building on the right of the picture, just to the side of the tractor with a red, looks like a fertilizer spread on the back, actually had electric shock in that building.
Oh, right, it's actually the building. I thought it was just a random picture of a farm.
No, that is the actual building.
The location.
Up in the northeast there, and so interesting. That whole building had recently been rewired, all in a plastic conduit. Everything was plastic. At low level, obviously, when you've got animals in buildings, you have to take extra precautions. I was in there one day. I was about to change a lamp in a light fitting, the old classic cuff tree bulkheads that were used all over the northeast at the time. Touched the outside casing of the light fitting
and take it off to replace the lamp.
To replace the lamp, and got a shock from that. Now, I wouldn't normally think you'd be testing for dead on the outside of an enclosure.
No, absolutely not. You know, I mean, if anyone out there is, if your process is that you walk up to everything and presume it's live, and I'm sure that's where we're going to go to in the future when we think about METs and we think about maybe pen faults, different conversation, that you walk up to something that clearly is for a protective conductor that could be live. I don't think, I'd love to hear if someone is that practice, because that is a second level to actually waft anything near it to sort of even suggest it's live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that case, it was, you know, the only thing you would have been able to detect was a volt stick.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't get another reference anywhere, because there's no...
You've got plastic everywhere.
There's plastic everywhere. And luckily on that one, I was on some hay bales.
Okay, let's
shouldn't have possibly been using...
It's a secondary story here. So your access equipment was some hay bales.
Yeah.
Good choice. Insulated material. If it was dry, you'd be fine. So if we're on an aluminium scaffold tower, obviously we've got another little bit of a problem there. So, and again, if you fell, I suppose that would have been a cushioned blow as you left.
Yeah, or the manure would have been underneath it. But the hay bales up there, and so what had happened there was, obviously farmers are practical folk. Right. Sometimes don't like paying for someone to come and correct those faults, or perhaps something's happened, you know, the milk's due to be emptied out and they need to get the temperature down on it, so you don't want the power going off. So they'd adopted the rather practical approach to stop the earth leakage circuit breaker going.
He's disconnected the protective conductor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously there was no faults after that point. But every metal part, which was only the light fittings, which were quite high up, was
yeah,
live.
so there's an argument there for placing out of reach and all the rest of it. But so you could go up there, you could have turned off that lighting circuit. Let's say you've gone and turned that lighting circuit off, but it could have been made live by an earth fault somewhere else. It ain't got to be that lighting circuit.
We could never find where that took. No. It was sort of,
who knows what they've done?
Yeah.
Again, you can see how these things, you know, become an accident you read in a magazine, or you know, you hear a news headlines of it. And how do you? I don't know. That is a classic example of an accident again. There's no way you could plan for that to be in live as you approached it. And someone will say, "Oh well, you should have had it off anyhow because you were changing the lamp in a fitting." But I think, look,
but even if you isolated the circuit, it wouldn't have necessarily
still been live. Yeah. There's lots of arguments out there. We'll come back to your hay bale story another time. Okay. Any more gems like that?
Well, then obviously moved into power electronics. So let's have a look at a little power electronics.
You're lucky to be with us, Greg.
I know. It's like you think that 9 lives. So power electronics, and again, electronics is coming into everything. In there, if you're fault finding in that, you tend to be working around stuff that is quite live at a PCB level, where there's exposed bits absolutely everywhere, and stored energy. And the reason it's not, we're showing the power electronics, lots of people won't do that, but there's now lots of devices we see in installations that are storing huge amounts of energy. So battery systems, solar panels that are on during daylight, so you can't really isolate them. You can isolate bits of a system, but the panels themselves remain live. And this is starting to cause people lots of problems in industry.
So no isolation between, so often you hear, don't you, when you start sort of working live and fault finding, there's some sort of SELV transformer, we're in a floating floor, we've got mats down, all the rest of it. Are we saying still in that situation did you get a shock off the live panel, or was it a discharging device?
Yeah, so things like capacitors, and people know in the past we joked about it, but yeah, we've had a recent one here from energy capacitors on stuff. But it was practice in power electronics. You had an oscilloscope for testing, quite technical getting in there, but to disconnect the earth lead from the oscilloscope so you do floating voltage measurements.
That's caused you the first problem, yeah.
Yeah, so there's I like to think now things are improving.
I agree.
But people need to be aware, you know, there's obviously accidents still happen. It's forgetfulness, it's
culture.
It's culture.
Culture for me. Yeah. I mean, it was second place at times to do it, rather than, you know, the culture should be we never do it. We want to go home, don't you? At the end of the day, you only go to work to go home. You don't want to end in your work kit, especially. I would suggest nobody wants to find their last resting places in a work kit. And there are some terrible stories out there, and we are certainly not trivialising our incidences we've had, and obviously across social media as well. Other people have suggested they've also received shocks in some ways, and it's not always. Some of your great examples are actually accidents that were no one's fault really, but could lead to a permanent accident.
And the biggest one we see at the minute is, and I know there's a massive problem out there about safe isolation in residential.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a consuming change, we see loads of examples, people pulling the fuse, which you know officially you shouldn't do.
Yep.
But we even see people going beyond that. And we've seen examples where you see an installation that looks a little bit raggy, let's say, at the start of the job.
Yeah, we've got a picture of an old one that is in situ. I know where this one is. So if we look at this TNS earthing arrangement and you look at the incoming cable on it, it's actually, you know, that older cable. You don't really want to move it around. And we've seen instances where this wooden board has been laid flat back on itself, haven't we?
Yeah, flat back. And then miraculously moved to another location.
Yes.
Without it's not the fuse ain't going to protect you, by taking the service fuse out isn't going to protect you. The only thing protecting in that installation is the fuse at the substation.
That's not protecting you.
Yeah, but that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's creeping up the agenda now, is we're starting to hear about arc flash, and arc flash is related to the amount of energy that's in the system that's feeding it.
Yeah.
And if you're a local substation, if you're lucky, it's 200 amps, but it's probably more likely to be 400 amp fuse.
Yeah, and again, I think when you're in that industrial environment, you've maybe got a distribution board, and below it maybe you've got some open bus bar. Okay, then there's an issue, isn't there? If you're working in that board, which that bar underneath is live, maybe you've got a socket set in and you're taking some of you drop that socket set or something metallic through there. It's as much about the energy being discharged that can cause injury, isn't it? We know what sort of energy that is being discharged. And again, we'll circle back into that in future ones as well, won't we? So hopefully the comments are coming in. If comments are coming in, you will get your name mentioned in the register at the end. We've also changed the end credits. We've also got 3 sets of TIS safe isolation kits to give away for the 1,000 people that have taken part as well. And we've got a new competition, as I suggested at the front, which will run for a couple of weeks as well. Shall we have a quick look who's in our green room? Because we're going to bring them in a minute. We'll have a little
We're going to try and cheer ourselves up a bit.
Steve wasn't even looking. Steve's in the middle, and he wasn't even looking. He was looking out the window. Yeah, okay, so there's Steve. And Steve's fellow colleague there is Mark. So give us a wave, Mark. And there we have Shyel as well from the Luceco lighting group, that's going to run us through some of the exciting products we've got there coming up as well. So comments, what do you want coming in, Gordon? So what sort of things do we want coming in? So we want people maybe to give us examples of incidents similar to your own, where they've been incredibly unlucky. And maybe there's been some near misses. Okay, obviously I'd like to limit anyone who's had somebody who's, you know, no longer.
Well, unfortunately somebody has.
Yeah, it's tough.
Tom Bickett shared that. Unfortunately lost his father while he was doing his to an electric.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Electrician. So it does
Bickerton.
happen.
Yeah, Tom Bickerton.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Tom. It's just I'm quite a soft-hearted kind of guy, and I can quickly cry, if you know what I mean. So I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, and it's someone sent us an email a few weeks about adult retraining for electricians. We have got some content on that. We're going to put that in a place you can find it. Try and round that up.
Yeah. Shall we sneak out a little CPD that we've been producing? What we were going to try and get out this month. Some of the other things that we're trying to touch on for the industry to help them out. Do you want to say that as well?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
In association with the wonderful people at the Luceco group, we've also built in some CPDs to help you with. I'm not going to tell you all of the subjects, but we've got one in there on asbestos. So, of course, that's really important, being able to identify asbestos and obviously what you have to do when you find asbestos. So is that almost a silent killer, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so again, as tradespeople working, again, if you're training or you're in the industry, it's worth freshening up on that. We're going to do one about working at heights, okay, and how important that is. Again, the amount of people that are injured or killed from a fall, okay, was really important in our industry as well. And then I'll just say one more in that set. There is a bigger set than this, but we're also going to do a little bit on mental health as well, aren't we? Because that is incredibly important to people working in trades, obviously everywhere, but there is a significantly higher number of tradespeople that actually take their own life. So again, we've got that coming. And that is done out of the goodness of the hearts of the people that the Luceco's group, isn't it? Because there is, I don't think there's any product in there, is there? at all.
No, that is just to help people.
In our industry. So
Yeah.
thank you very much to them. All right, now I think we've teased it long enough. Shall we bring them in?
We can. Let's bring our guests in. We can lighten it up a bit again. But again, thanks everyone for doing that safe isolation CPD. Yeah. Carry on till the end of the month. We might have another special treat actually hiding in Roy Cropper's bag down here that we've just found.
I think they said I can keep that.
You can give it
Sure
away.
he said it. No, we're giving it away, are we? Okay. So we'd like to bring in Shyel. We'd like to bring in Steve, and we'd like to bring in the wonderful Mark as well. One of my favourite guests of all time. So well done. Emergency chair.
Steve, you're on the emergency chair.
Unfortunately, the last person in gets the emergency chair.
Like when an extra relative comes up, just you need to get that chair out the garage I want to use for painting. So you're on that.
Good point.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's perfect. Just don't lean backwards, okay?
Okay.
Right, okay. It's your first time on as well. You won't be able to stand in the morning. Thank you very much for coming along. Obviously, we've got some segments to do, and you'll all get a chance to talk. But we want you to talk for 60 seconds first. I just want to reiterate that, and just in case you're David Kitchener, who did about 4.5 minutes, okay? So we just want roughly 60 seconds. It can be about anything about yourself. We obviously know tonight you're going to be proposing, aren't you, Shyel, to your significant other. Yes, so whether it's now you're going to do your proposal or whether it's
wait to the end.
We'll
let everyone tune in for
shall
that.
we make entry? Do you want to start for us then, Shyel?
Yeah, so Shyel Stark. I started as a mechanical electrical engineer in the building services, so in effect putting in the organs, the architect's design as a skeleton. Before then moving into product development, and then on to product management. So, developing the product, but then ultimately taking it to market. So started in the wire and accessory industry for a major company before then moving into lighting. So I've been in lighting for the past decade now, designing and launching new products, which is very much kind of shaping the industry and the products that people install. So.
Did I hear you say you were in building services?
Building services, back in the day, back in the long ago.
We know clean coats, Gary. Yeah.
That'll be interesting for the old challenge coming up very shortly. Oh, yeah. And talking of challenges, Steve, you did an absolute duck out because you should have been the other one because we knew you'd already done it, Mark. And fantastic job you did of it as well.
Gary, yeah.
And you come up with some lame excuse why you didn't come here today.
Busy, sorry.
Yeah, busy, sorry. Yeah, okay, we'll have you back. So we've only got one race hall tonight, so it's quite easy to work out who won tonight's time. But whether we can get the time itself. So Steve, give us 60 seconds about yourself.
So I started in the electrical wholesale industry. So I started at the bottom, sweeping the floors, and worked my way up. So I did 21 years in the electrical wholesale market. And then I took over from my dad at TIS and joined forces with Mark. So I've been 14 years on test instruments and thoroughly enjoying this side of the fence opposed to the other side of the fence. That's pretty much me. So I've been in the industry all my life, pretty much.
So your dad, his father's got a lovely relationship with you. Yeah, you're a pretty entrepreneurial kind of guy, Mark. Okay,
yeah.
And then obviously Steve slid in there. So I think you deserve one of these. See, there's a silver spoon for you, young man. So
Thank you.
Looks like you've had one for a long time. So there's another one to go with your collection. Okay, so Mark, somebody else on your coattails. Tell us all about yourself.
Yeah, so I started in the industry with Edgecombe Instruments back in the 80s. The people who made the very first portable appliance tester 30 years before the electricity at work regulations were even thought about. Another famous product that they brought to market was the, you like these numbers, 7A501C, which is the old black intrinsically safe insulation tester used down the mines, used in the petrochemical industry. And then at the beginning of 1990, fortunately, bumped into Steve's dad, Malcolm. We worked at CEF's in-house division, Metratest, now called MTI, for a few years until we brought Matrel into the UK for the first time in 1998. And then in 2005, we formed Test Instrument Solutions. Bit of a mouthful, so we've renamed it TIS, rather imaginatively.
Yeah, well done.
And here we are.
Okay, good job there was an extra T in there. So I always struggle with that. I'm massively dyslexic. When I looked at it, like when I was like, right, I've just got to concentrate here because I am terrible with getting letters right. And I was not quite, I was adding an additional letter in there, which was, it wasn't good. That's dyslexia for you. So fantastic. So that's a little bit different.
And you'll recognise, if you go to the LX trade shows, you're always there.
You're always there.
Always there.
Always good.
Yep.
So,
Anyone else with you?
Regionally, depends which region we're operating in. But we've got salespeople covering from Land's End to John O'Groats, haven't we? So
they go and get the dinners, don't they?
Yeah.
Does your son not now work for the business?
Yeah, so there's 3 generations involved now. So yeah,
Just give him one of them when he gets home.
I'm running out of pockets here.
Yeah, well, just again, he's running out of siblings to your coattails, man. How long are they? Yeah, you've got legacy in the industry, and then they come along. The Hayes family come along and just tag on, do they? Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll have to do family fortunes next time, Gary. We'll have to get 2 sets of
Yeah, we always like to rob one, don't we? We will do bullseye at some point. We've promised that one out as well. So yeah, I think
family fortunes. I'll make a note of that.
Dennis, then?
Well, I don't know. I think he could do a crushing list, Dennis.
You think?
Yeah, I think you could. If it's up there, I'll give you the money.
Gary's holding out for Larry Grace on another game show.
Yeah, what was it, Jim Bowen on the old bullseye? Larry Grayson shut that door. Yeah, look what you could
If
have
Gary goes on about his solar more this week, Jim Boring, as we call him now.
Did I mention I got some solar panels this week? I wish I hadn't got any solar panels. You just look at it, there is no light out there. Don't need sun, we just need light. It's been dark, hasn't it, for not now until about middle of April, won't it be? Yeah. Okay, so what we've done now, we're nice and relaxed. We're in. We're gonna see. Well, we've got enough time. How long's the show? Hour and a half, isn't it? So
well, hold on. We can bring in some numbers. Now he thinks he's got away with it while we digress into family fortunes, but it's not. Back to Shyel now.
So you'd like?
Well, it's easy tonight. You just have to guess the time. The time that Shyel's going to hopefully do the challenge wall in, and we're looking
to beat that time there, 9:54.
Yeah, so are we hoodwinking you, saying it's going to be incredibly slow? Or now you know he's actually got a secret background in building services and the clean coat side of things. Is he going to be up there at the top? So get your times in, and we'll see. We might tell you if there's a prize at the end. We might even send it to you.
I mean, yeah, I'm due to send something out to a college. I should have sent it out Friday. I haven't sent it yet, and I'm whittling away. It's in the van. I will get it out tomorrow. But there's people. I mean, we could go back almost a couple of years that you've missed out on the post. Is that right, Junior? So, okay, so play along for the fun. If you happen to get something through the post, I'd be remarkably surprised. So you're putting the times in now?
Yeah, so it's just gone out live now, so we're just a little bit behind. So yeah.
So we got any good times there?
No, people are looking at the minute. People think you're going to be fast. People think Gary's a charlatan.
I'm terrible for
fours and fives.
Yeah. 3:14.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Chan, good to see some regulars in who knows how this works. Times are flooding in. Yeah, everyone thinks we've hoodwinked. Oh no, someone thinks Darren Casey. We wouldn't happen to know Darren Casey.
Well, Darren's, he knows he's my target.
Yeah,
No, I think you're safe, Darren. I think you're safe.
He thinks he's going to do it in 12 minutes.
It was good.
So it's good to see your former colleagues supporting you there.
He must have left the camera in the room.
Yeah, flooding in there now. Yeah, everyone thinks you're going to be fast. We're nearly done on the times on live. So yeah, Rick, I guess we can hold on, Rick, before we go, let's just have a look at your torch. Let's have a look at the Beyond Borg of the electrical industry we've got over there.
That's a beautiful product.
Look at that, hey? Fantastic. Look at it. He has wanted one of these for a long time. Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Who used to do that? Who's the comedian doing that?
Morecambe and Wise.
Morecambe and Wise. Yeah, there we go. If he's not doing that, he's doing his Morecambe and Wise. Anyway, we digress again. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Electricians Challenge. We're looking. I haven't seen this.
Interested who's in the window.
Haven't seen it.
No, I haven't
We haven't
seen
seen
this
it. No, we were out the room. Here we go. So yeah, here we go. Well, we start off. Oh, you're wearing the head torch.
Well, the head torch as well.
Is that a second-hand work you've got now? Ooh, look at that. You tried to do one hand and the other hand.
Yeah.
Good start. Solid-looking start. This is.
Good. BG socket. No excuses for getting it wrong.
It's aggressive. I was worried about this one. Here we go. So into the conduit. This could take out a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully, that'll help you. So
I don't know.
Did you have a good demonstration? Oh, what are you doing? Gave you a brilliant
It
demonstration.
just all went wrong.
Insulation tape there.
You know what? Yeah, it just.
Okay, so we're up the conduit. We're around Luceco bend. Okay, don't know how we named that one. And into the consumer unit. Concentration on that face, isn't there? Yeah. Here we go. So we're in the board. Now, we expect this to be effortless with this tool. Yeah, effortless. Look at this. It's going well. Going well. So it is good. So I think we've hoodwinked a few people, including ourselves. Remember, this might not be your fastest run you're watching, Shyel. This might be one of the other runs, but we will give you your fastest time. So we go. This looks like a cracking bit of editing to me.
I was going to say thank you.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I'm admiring how quick everything's going. So this is good. Do you remember, Mark, when you did this? You had a.
I don't remember, Gary.
No, you had the odd face pull moment,
Yes.
didn't you? It was one of them where we thought we were maybe doing a little bit of gurning. I think when we were suggesting what you were doing, we'd love to have seen Steve do it. He didn't bother turning up on time. Here we go. Oh, what do we call that then? That's a sitting Ramo.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of Nick Ramo, we've got a sitting Ramo.
Sitting room. Wow.
Efficient.
This actually looks quite good.
Yeah.
I'd heard rumours what the first time was.
This
and
is-
that would have been.
This is the race. So yeah, if this is the slowest
Do
one.
you do any DIY at home?
Well, not if you speak to Sandra.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to drill a single hole, so.
Yeah.
But I've got all the equipment.
Oh wow, that's all.
I've got every torch known to man.
Yeah. All the gear, no idea. Yeah, that's it. We're in there. Look at that, taking it easy there. It's like relaxing.
They're a little bit long, I would suggest. We might have a little bit of length issue there. So, oh, look at that.
Sweat, yeah,
That was slow mode in as well. I think I was in there, brow sweep. We noticed we've lost the torch off the head. So, yeah, fantastic editing. We've lost that without knowing we'd lost it. So, yeah, it's
What was your sweatband?
That's look at the sweat on those arms as well. Wow.
You were dripping after the first one, weren't you?
I've got down to beat here. So.
No, it's not.
Good. Any reason why you wore a jumper under that T-shirt? That would have made you pretty. Well, you had to say that, didn't you, Mark? Why couldn't you just let it go? You had to say it, didn't you?
Well, I do look very hairy on camera.
Yeah, here we go. And another attempt. What we're trying to put in there is that. Oh, you split the protective conductors.
Yeah, I struggled the first time. Kept slipping
Slow
out.
here.
Here we go.
Right, try and get the cover on. It's dead easy with those sockets.
Screws on the floor. What did I tell you?
Oh, I lost them all. You told me.
I told you.
told me. Yeah, they all
Oh,
went.
look at this. What a clown.
This you decided not to cut.
No. Screws on the floor, screws you see no more. Yeah, well done. What's going on here? Oh, disaster. Disaster. So that one was out. Oh, nothing like finger tight. Yep,
Right,
so
where's those screws now? Oh, we know where they are this time.
there we go. That's it. And looking for the other one. So, oh, there's another one.
They are trying.
Yeah.
He's doing a little jig there with the legs there.
Still not found it.
No, we haven't. He's looking
I've put it out at the end.
at
At the end.
Oh, dear me. Oh, wow.
People thought they'd be.
I think that was also with my
Up
father.
until that point, yeah, pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Up until then. Now, yeah, that was
Well, I enjoyed that.
the first one was a long one.
See what
wasn't
you missed out on, Steve? You can,
Yeah.
You know what not to do next time. We will get you eventually.
Yeah.
That could be the final in Family Fortunes, couldn't it? The head-to-head.
He'll turn up late again.
Yeah.
Shyel, obviously, I don't think that was necessarily the quickest run, but it looked like the most entertaining one.
Yeah.
Did you feel you got better at it?
I do, definitely. I think the first time the pressure was all there, and I learned some key things such as tightening up the screws. Pretty important so the cables don't fall out. And then also just the simple stuff, getting the conduit or the cables up the conduit. And getting caught on the inside, but
Did my demonstration get caught? When I did it, did I get caught in the conduit?
no, you
not-
made it look
Incredibly
surprisingly easy.
Yes.
Something this is.
And what did I say to you? I said, what you'll do is you'll do the usual student thing. You'll half look at what I'm doing because you think you can do a better job, yeah? And you went away and spent
That's
14 and a half minutes proving me right, I think.
Something like that, yeah. At 13 and a half.
It
but
was ridiculous. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So, Shyel, looking at the board behind, is anyone you know on there? We obviously know you know.
Well, we know an Ian.
Casey, who's already.
Darren Casey. Ian's a fellow colleague.
Oh, Ian Monkton.
Ian Monkton, yes.
Does Ian do it? And shout Ian's time out for me.
Ian 609.
Oh, faster than Rick. What was Rick's time? That's right down the bottom.
Rick, 625.
So Ian Monkton, office professional,
Yes.
beats Rick,
Yeah.
the electrician. Wow, Rick.
Climb over the occasional
As long as I'm not on the floor, I'll take that as a win. Or if I'm not on that board there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, this is. I mean, let's put. I'll tell you, first time you would have been way over there. Yeah, Carl at 9 minutes 54, you would have been sitting up there near the top of the board.
So you say rapid Carl over here, yeah?
Rapid
9 minutes,
Carl.
9 minutes 54.
Because you were in 13 minutes. But actually, with a bit of coaching from Rick, and you managed to get this under 6 minutes.
Wow.
I'll take that.
So that means you are above your colleague in one. You actually did this in 5 minutes of 55. All the fives.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you
I
are.
will
That
take
puts
that.
you with. You actually said you wanted to be above, close to an electrician.
Yeah.
That Simon Harrison he's gone into the world of building services a bit now. You're just below him.
Oh, so
that is
What is WS?
WS. I can't remember what WS was now. Was it?
WS, no, not
Yeah. We've forgotten our own
yeah, all right.
there.
SF there for
Well done. From where you
Sweaty fingers.
miracles do happen. And what was more devastating, I came in just at the end. I didn't see your time. I see the end, and Rick was round this, looking at the board, going, "I cannot believe the time." As it was, it was in like 5 minutes 10 or something, and you're like, "He's going to beat me. If he stops, he'll beat me." So, well done. Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations.
And you'll be pleased to know Ian's on.
Oh yeah, okay, there you go.
Well, he was on. He's now just left. Yeah, brilliant.
You
So-
can get back in the office that little time. So, yeah, Shyel, sweaty hands.
Right, okay, so but we'll get into it. So we're going to do it. So I'd just like to say, I like your new light fittings. Okay, this is the high bay version. We've got the miniature one here with for the domestic, but of course here at eFIXX we like things that are a little bit bigger. So that is absolutely brilliant. So this is one of your F types, and we're going to take a deep dive into these. But yeah, the high bay version is a novel approach, I think, to the market. So well done for doing that. So brilliant. Right, where would you want to start then, Gordon, with these? This is your industry.
Well, let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, downlights. People, oh, do we need another downlight? Well, we probably do need another downlight because these have got a feature that I'll kick in when we first feature, like dim to warm. Have you ever heard dim to warm? Yeah? No?
No.
Oh, well, we're going to be on trend tonight. We're setting trends here. Dim to warm. So normally when, in the old days, when Gary, not your old days, not candles.
You want to go there? The gas lamp man. Yeah. We could turn the gas down.
When you used to have those incandescent lamps at home, and you're thinking you're having a little special night in, No, you didn't do a special
Read
night
the
in?
audience, he's
No.
thinking he can do that.
You want to dim the lights down for a romantic night,
Yeah.
The lamp used to change colour.
Yes.
Yeah, it used to go from that very white light down to a very orange light, The actual technical terms, colour temperature moves. When we moved to LEDs, you didn't get that.
Right.
You dim an LED down, you get a dimmer version of what you had. So you lose that atmosphere and things like that. But now, you can actually have that effect in an LED downlight.
That's standard.
As standard.
Steve, currently I'd say having orange light in any room in your house with an orange glow about yourself would probably not be a good thing, would it? You start matching the mahogany furniture when you dim those lights down. But for the rest of us that aren't obviously awesomely bronzed, okay, that would be... Now, we got that to show me. I think the wonderful Joe Robinson's done a fantastic image, hasn't he, for us, that clearly can illustrate this, because we're not going to be able to dim some of them, and then you can clearly see the ones you can. So we played the footage, and perhaps, Shyel, you can just talk us through what's actually happening on the screen as this comes in. So we've got the set here, and we're going to see these dim down.
Sure. So as you can see, I believe the bottom set is the dim to warm ones, correct?
So as we come down, so we can see the original set at the top, so that's what it started like, and then obviously at the bottom, the dimming effect has happened. So we like, at the outside, we're just less bright, aren't we? Okay.
Correct, right.
So just remind me what they're actually at for Kelvin.
So you've got the 4,000 Kelvin version.
Yep.
And then you've got the 3,000 Kelvin, which when installed with a dimmer,
Yep.
the dim to warm mode is activated.
Are they the two in the centre?
And they're the two in the center, yeah. And that's they will then dim down from 3,000 Kelvin, and they'll change their color temperature down to 2,400 Kelvin.
And we can clearly see that in the top box. So we look top middle, the two boxes in there, and once we've dimmed them down, we can see how that room would now be that warm looking. It would all look like
That's right, that
Steve in
cosy
light,
glow.
wouldn't we? Yeah, it'd be fantastic for us all. A lot healthier. Okay, look like we've had a decent holiday. But again, looking at the top row again, when we're on the outer parameters, just remind me what they are. Are we 6,000 on far right?
That looks like it's 6,000, 4,000.
Yeah, okay. So, and we can see all we've done is actually just, as Gordon described there, we've just changed the light in the room to being a little bit less, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit dimmer, and it doesn't. But that move to orange makes a big difference. Places like pubs and things like that use it all the time. When you go down your harvester, Gary, to clean out the buffet, it'll tend to.
I wish I could.
Yeah. As much as it is, not a challenge.
It's not an ambition.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So now you've been able to get it in lamps for quite a while.
That's right, yeah.
I've mentioned this before. People and some electricians didn't get it. They're just because you've probably brought up in an LED world and didn't realise this even happened in the past, because we've had LED lamps. We had before that compact. You couldn't do it with compact fluorescent lamps.
Oh, right, yeah, that's a fair point, isn't it? It's like, we're talking like, because of the amount of age we've got in the back of us, that this is commonplace, but no, it ain't, is it really? Those modern electricians been doing it 10, 12 years. It's not even in their world, is it?
No, and I would say, give it a try, actually. If you don't understand what the hell we're on about, give it a try, because it's dead easy to do, isn't it? It's just a regular install.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
obviously check that dimmer compatibility, but I would give it a try.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, you're putting that value back in the light for that end user to really benefit from. So, yeah, it's...
Just elaborate on giving the end user the value back, because when I hear value in a light fit, I'm
Sure.
thinking about what it cost me to buy it.
Okay.
What's giving the end user the value?
Well, I mean, let's think. I mean, a light fitting, the main output of a light fitting is the light itself, right?
Yep.
That is the main product. And so often we kind of forget the end user, the one sitting under the light, using the light. And so currently, you know, with standard LED technology and, you know, after the LEDification happened, all we really saw was that lights just got dull, and we accepted it as a market and, you know, as users and such. Whereas now we can actually give that color temperature change effect and to create that cozy lighting effect back to the end user. So now they can sit there. We're all watching a lot more, you know, streaming TV. We're all sitting at home a lot more. So now we can actually benefit from that directly from the light and adjust and create our own cozy environment just by a twist of the knob. You know, no smart electronics, nothing clever, no in-depth smart systems.
Mark, are you 4 channels or are you streaming?
4 channels.
Yeah. There's a 5th one if you search for it. Yeah, they've banged another one on a little while ago, so you try and get the 5th one. The 4 solid channels. Yeah. Bit of what is it? The old countdown at 4 o'clock, is it? Yeah. Ovaltine and bed. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, so that gives us that effect. Now, but if we take it back a stage, because we've got all of these different temperatures that we can set it at, sometimes people don't even realise that one light fitting which we've got in front of us here can have these temperatures, but where best to perhaps think about locating them in relationship to a property. And we've got a slide that can help us with that as well. If we were just stuck with these temperatures and we were unsure what we could do with them, I think you've got a lovely picture that just helps us illustrate what we can do. I think it's the other one. I think it's the other one, but it's yeah. We'll come back to that one. That's the one. Yeah. So,
the one, yeah.
So we've got that. So just talk us through maybe where we might. You've even got the 6000, but Gordon's got a great story on that. We'll come to that as well.
Sure. Well, so on the 4 color change version of the downlight, you know, you can pre-select which color temperature you want, and depending on the room and the task, particularly in the room, we'll kind of, you know, define, you know, what kind of color temperature might be best to use. So if you're using more task lighting, a room with task lighting like an office or perhaps a kitchen or a workshop, typically a cooler white would be used and better for that. Whereas if you want to create that kind of cozy environment, that nice relaxed space, then generally warmer color temperatures are used. Although people generally don't know how to use color temperature to benefit their light and space, because ultimately it can come down to your decor. You know, if one has, you know, mahogany worktops and that, they might typically use a warm white, whereas if you've got a white, you might use a cool white, you know, in terms of your workspaces and such.
And again, because the fitting themselves gives you the ability to change it, the electrician's got the chance of putting them in, and even they step back and say, well, let's have a look at something else.
Exactly.
For the sake of a few minutes, maybe we don't actually put them fully into the ceiling at that stage. You can just change the mood of that room.
Sure.
Yeah, basically, that's really quick. Now, you said to me, and I loved it, because you're the oracle of all knowledge, especially on lighting, Gordon, well, just on everything in general, but you said to me, culturally, light's important as well, and they may choose a different and a lot cooler white, depending on where you are. So give us some practical examples of that.
Well, if you got the Middle East, typically they light public spaces, offices, things like that, at a cooler temperature than we do here.
Right.
Because they come from red hot outside. It creates a cooler feeling environment when you go into it. Yeah.
So they might be up at the 6000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you go to Japan, that's all people will light their flats in 6. That's what they're used to. That's what they're growing up with.
Right.
You'll see a whole block of 6,000 degree lit flat. That's what people are used to. So sometimes when people relocate to another country, they like to bring that with them.
Of course they do.
And you can spot who lives in this street. Hold on, we've got some people in from Japan down there. And it is, and people forget fluorescent lamps. People used to get used to handling different colour temperatures because you were always changing them. And you'd walk in a room where someone had put the wrong lamp in, and you'd have a bank of fittings and one would be a different colour.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe you've done that.
And the one striking 5 foot in a kitchen, when you replaced it for a brand new one, it was eye-watering how bright it felt again, didn't you? Like, oh wow, you can see you've had a new lamp in here when the old one's losing its life on the way out.
Yeah. But again, it's lighting. I always say you only appreciate good lighting when you've seen it. Sometimes you'll go in a room and think, this feels different to somewhere else I've been. It's actually because it's quite well lit.
Yeah.
But it's
when you say well lit, as in lit in relationship to the atmosphere of the room, not super bright because it's well lit.
The right lights in the right place, creating that right atmosphere. and it's something electricians can do, because lighting, like I said, I'll not say it's very in the reams of things you can spend in the house. Lighting is competitively priced, isn't it?
It is.
Look at the amount of money people will spend on a tap or a door handle compared to what you see. You're laughing there.
Bought some dinner taps in the time,
You've come back for how much for a tap?
Yeah.
You know, a waterfall tap, 300 quid.
and it doesn't change the atmosphere of the
Yeah.
room.
And while you can make a massive difference with just changing a few things in lights, and I think for electricians it's a good value adder that you can offer to your customers. But there's some other things you've done to the product as well, isn't there? That's just the start.
It's just the start, yeah. We've tried to squeeze in innovation in all areas, really. So, I mean, where else? What's the next part we should talk about? I mean, we could talk about the quick view window, which appears on all of the ranges. So
You take that, we'll bring hand cam in. So
That's
you
fine.
take that as you do your explanation.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to hand me hand cam, that'd be great.
let me show you. I mean, I can show you across the range. I mean, so what you have, you've got 3 different versions.
Rear view window.
Rear view window. And I think you believe you've got a graphic on that one as well.
Yeah,
but I
well-
mean, ultimately what that does is allow you to check that all cables are correctly terminated on the inside.
Okay, visual polarity, we'd call
Yeah.
that. Yep.
I mean, I myself, obviously you're talking about shocks today. I myself, I'll give myself a shock. In my own wiring, the light was not turning on. I opened up the case to find out that the cables have actually come out and they were arcing on the inside. And it's almost so obvious to think, well, why has no one really kind of created that window to visually check your cables are in place? Obviously, after the kind of connections are made tight, it puts that strain on the cable.
And you get a shock with your time on the race for first time round as well. So that's 2 shots we've had for you today. So, okay, so we can see into the window, that's brilliant. Obviously, we use those push fit connectors and all the rest of it. What other things are innovating in here for me then?
Right, okay, so I mean, on this particular Ultra version, so this is the premium of the range. This is what we call true first fix, second fix.
Yep.
Where you've got your internal connector, which can come out.
Okay.
Here's one in effect. I've kind of
You made one earlier, did
a
you?
little bit earlier, but
well
we did our Blue Peter moment here. So what you've got here is ultimately you've got your 360-degree access. What we find is in the industry, and a lot of the feedback we did as part of our focus group was talking about the difficulty of wiring into these blocks while wiring around the actual outer housing.
Oh, right, yeah,
So we
nothing's
thought,
hanging there. You didn't even think of that. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking, yeah, where's this improvement? I haven't got it all, the undercarriage here floating
Exactly.
around
So
whacking
now
into the
you
ceiling.
can wire direct to it. I mean, it's 500 volt insulation resistance tested, VDE approved. You can kind of give these to your apprentice to go around whacking them all up, do the installation. To which you then come back. Imagine you're up a ladder. So I do this with one hand. You come in, you slot it.
Wow, whoa, that seemed too easy. I didn't do it quite that easy. Do that again for me.
Oh, he was complaining.
Slot it in.
Yeah, I found a more difficult way of doing that. I did. I'll show you that later if you want.
You lock the collar
And I
there,
found a more difficult way of doing that as well.
and that's it. Now you're done.
Maybe I could have done with the demo before I had a go with that. That is, yeah.
So at this point, you can do your true 500 volt insulation resistance testing.
Okay, so that's
then go.
because we've got this here. Now, I've got a lovely little video I'm going to bring in a minute just to reiterate that point. So, yes, so now we've got the light fitting and the actual connector separated. All right, that's brilliant. So you take me out of hand cam. That's really good.
You make your connection.
Yeah, so I like to try and link everything together. I quite like the MFT Eco. Okay, yeah, I do like that one from TIS. Yeah, I've done a couple of nice videos. It's got some sneaky little things in there. I even convinced my good mate Marcus to buy one as well, just so I got that field tested, and we'll talk about that as well at some point. But that insulation resistance test is super good, okay? And we've got a super good fit in here that links in nicely. So I think we should just see what I was doing in Rick's workshop. I've managed to get Rick out of his workshop so I can show you 2 of my favourite things. So it's the TIS MFT Eco tester, which I'm going to carry out my insulation resistance test on, as well as the Luceco Lighting F-Type Ultras I've got on the bench in front of me. And we're going to be looking at here, it says about cables being first installed. The insulation resistance test is going to need to be carried out at 500 volts DC. And that's included between live conductors. And the issue is that obviously we're going to have our loads connected. So it could be our socket outlets are connected with USBs, and it could be that our downlighters are in circuit, and we know that they contain electronic components. And if I pass 500 volts of downline and neutral, I could potentially damage them. But it says I need to do it because I need to pressure test effectively the cables in circuit. I'm going to bend the rules slightly with this benchtop version because we know when we're carrying out an insulation resistance test, our CPC is connected to our earth bar, which is connected to our earthing conductor and any protective bonding conductors, which we haven't got here. We know we should be doing that. So how am I going to carry out this test? How am I going to pass 500 volts through the circuit? Now, it could be you've sent your apprentice out in to remove all the loads and potentially they might have forgot one, or you could have forgot one. Well, that's where this eco tester from TIS has got you covered during the installation resistance test. Me and Rick have shown you it before, but I'm going to show you it again. So I'm going to connect my 3 leads. So my line, neutral and my circuit protective conductors are connected here. I'm going to press and test my insulation resistance. It'll do all 3 at the same time. So press start for go. Wait for it to kick in. It's kicked in. I can now take my finger off. Line and neutral is the top one. And you can see it stopped at 35 volts only being passed through the circuit. It went on and completed the other 2 insulation resistance tests over 500 volts, so at the right test voltage. But between line and neutral, it detected something in circuit, throttled back the voltage, and therefore didn't damage the equipment, which is splendid. However, I need to, according to Guidance Notes 3, BS7671, test this newly installed circuit between live conductors at 500 volts, and I haven't done that yet. So what can I do? I could go out into circuit and link out, maybe those USB sockets, I've got to link those out. I definitely have to test the cable. But these F-type Ultras here have got you covered. So all we're going to need to do is simply unclip them. So if I pull and just wiggle out this here, I can remove the set with the light. So that light has been removed. And do the same on this one. Just wiggle it out. And now we are pressure testing the cable up and through this joint. I haven't had to make any temporary connections. I've just removed the light fins. Remember, these have come from the manufacturers. They've already been tested before we obviously install them, but our cables here could have been damaged as we pulled them through the ceilings, under floors, etc., chased into walls. I'll come back to my test. I can carry it out now as required at 500 volts, exactly the same as before. Press, hold. The tester will go through that cycle. Look at the first one. Line and neutral, let's watch the voltage raise. It's jumped up to our 500 volts test voltage, 999 megohms, and again 999 megohms. So we've done an insulation resistance test of the circuits that have been installed, the cable, even though we've had to remove the equipment, which was simple here because we have to do that. Once you've finished the installation, when we drop down to II, you actually now, once the installation has been completed, you can now go back to doing live conductors together. So line and neutral together to the protective conductor, and it gives you the option of changing the voltage down to 250 as well. So that's when the full install has been completed, but you must pressure test effectively the cable after you've installed them.
Yeah, that was very good, that year.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that, didn't you? No.
It was great because it's, yeah, put the 2 together. Yeah, we're all sitting here. I love both, so it was an easy video for me to make, really. And again, a little bit of learning in there for us.
But that prop, isn't it? That thing, the insulation test is more prevalent now in that Guidance Note 3.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I see more people going down the connector route.
Yeah.
Because it's an easy way to...
Absolutely.
To make, but you said in the focus group, some electricians aren't doing an insulation
That's
test.
right. They admitted not doing the test.
Right.
Saving the time, you know, but it's either based on the products they're already installing, which doesn't allow them to do it, or just to save the time. But we were surprised just how many said they do not do the 500 volt insulation resistance test.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been very honest tonight, and we've said, you know, as a group of people and people on there that are about maybe receiving electric shock, and again, they're probably being brutally honest with you. Yeah, they're doing it. But that's why they brought it in. So they wanted to stop brand new installations not effectively pressure testing those cables when they're first pulled in and already dropping it down to 250 and missing out between live conductors. So again, products like this save us that process, doesn't it? It means we can disconnect those and we can test them. We also had a little bit of a, if we're going devilment there, what's the longest circuit likely to be in a property?
Yeah, the lighting circuit, it wanders all over the place.
Smallest cables, most likely to be, but it's been very generic with these statements, most likely the thinnest cables, most likely to be damaged potentially, and all the rest. Not that we're admitting anything else, but again, there's no reason now, is it? It's a simple thing to do it. As you you don't connect your boiler, you don't connect your lights, and you carry out that test.
Yeah. Keeps the painter away from it as well.
Yeah, well, they'll come back anyhow at the end just to ruin my brush over the top of it, won't they? Even if it meant they had to drive across town, so round your sockets and everything, just to finish it off. And interesting, because you said focus group there, and this is something that for years I've been talking to Ian about, is that you actually invite electricians in to look at products, product ideas, products that are almost finished, to get their feedback and make the alterations that they require.
Exactly. I mean, look, obviously we've got one view or one window of looking at how a product should be, but I mean, I think real life, real users, completely different behaviours. So actually getting them in, getting their opinions firsthand to make sure that we're designing the product for them, in effect, is critical. for our new product development, and it's something we do on every product
Yeah.
that we bring to market.
And you, again, I love learning stuff, and that's why I love doing these things. We talked about the ability to switch it simply between 6 and 4 watts.
Yep.
And it was like, I was like, okay, yeah, you see what you're going to do there is think, we want to save a little bit of electricity, we'll flick them down to 4. And then you came up with a classic for me. You've got a fully lit room with maybe incandescent or maybe fluorescent style ones that gives a certain level of light for a number of holes.
Yeah.
You then put all 6 watt ones in and you've increased the light level.
Exactly.
Yep. So a simple fix for that is, first of all, you could miss a few out because obviously the light spread and the rest of it. Who wants holes in their ceiling? And your solution was simply to do what?
Just throttle down the wattage.
Yeah.
Throttle down the wattage. You keep the same holes you've got in the ceiling, but now you're not overlighting that space. You can retain those holes. And upgrade it to LED, but then ultimately, still have that comfortable lit environment.
Yeah. And I feel ridiculous in lots of these. The ventilation one was another one. That's just obvious, isn't it? You just say to yourself, I'm putting these in. They're going to give more light output, lumens per watt. I put them in and replace the other ones. It's like, oh wow, I don't know what I've done. It's all right saying, oh yeah, great, I've still got a new set of lights.
Yeah.
But that's too much, isn't it? It's just that, knock them back, change the temperature. Another one, okay, and we're sorted. So I thought that was great.
But if you look at what's happened with energy prices, you're going between 4 and 6 watts. Back in the old, it's gone between 40 and 60 watts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've just reset things we've reduced the power but increased the price per unit.
Do you want to let me loose on parasitic loads?
No, we're not yet. You've got to save that one, Gary. You're not going into your solar panels. But the other thing we've had, the other thing we had in the comments that we always get on downlights is obviously some people still like to fit cans and put lamps in there.
Yeah.
And I have a view on this because I'm an integrated person in terms of that for a few reasons. And my own experience, I've had LEDs at home in the kitchen now. I worked this out the other day. For 12 years they've been in.
Right.
The same fittings.
Yes.
And obviously each fitting's got multiple LEDs in. And out of I think there's about 20 fittings in there, I've lost 2 individual LEDs just in this last year. So LEDs can last the distance.
Yeah.
The problem I have with lamp and can is you're taking a lamp, and what you'll never find on most lamps is a temperature rating for the lamp.
True.
So you're taking a lamp and putting it in a sealed box because it's a fire-rated downlight, and obviously, and everyone wants the IP rating on the front, so you're trapping a load of heat in, so the lamp will never last the hours that the manufacturer says because they've rated it for 30,000 hours in a nice open air. So but I can see, we know, speaking to people like property developers, they like to put lamp and can in sometimes because the customer will do the maintenance for them. Because people just blame a lamp.
Did anyone else go where I did? Can you imagine being in your kitchen, having a beer, and you're discussing the 2 LEDs that have failed? Yeah, that must be some soiree that you and Caroline are putting on a Saturday evening.
It's nearly as much, Gary, as your sort of parasitic loads. I feel sorry for your family.
No, you come round my house, we can have some parasitic. We can play a little bit of hide and seek version of parasitic loads. Let's go out and find them. How many can you get in 30 seconds? Turn them off. Yeah, so that's good. You got that comparison. Yeah, my LED fittings in my kitchen have been in there 15 years. Yeah, just working in there. These style of ones that are in there, they're not cans. So yeah, there is some life in them. Yeah. I always think as well, when the can ones, I understand, I totally get it that the customer can change them. We can talk about e-waste and circular economy and all the rest of it. But you don't always get the right colour when you put the new one in. Yeah, it is. When you're sitting there and you've got them all in front of you as a customer, it's a bit of a guess, isn't it, what you're going to get? And then you do get the odd 1 or 3 that aren't quite the right colour, don't you?
So while I'm at home looking at the individual LEDs are going out, you're sat up looking at the different coloured light fittings. It must be fun in your house on a Friday.
When I was on holiday, and I wished I'd taken a better picture of it because it didn't come out very well, we had 4 in the fitting in the kitchen. 1 had failed, and the 3 were all different colours, the other ones. Yeah, so nothing was the same. They just put a lamp in it. That solved the problem, move on. So, yeah, that's an interesting one there. Okay, so, yeah.
So you've got a few of these ones. You've got these massive ones here. I mean, we're dead looking forward to getting them. Yeah.
High bay version. I like this one. Look at that.
You can see these down at Screwfix Live this week.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, if you want to see most of the
Friday.
team. Sorry. Lean into that. You can see most of the team. Yes. The reason. Okay, let's be honest now. We know you missed a couple of weeks. We've got to go there. So Gordon has missed a couple of weeks. He's completed his court case. And just to let you know, he will need to be near a telephone and at at home by 9 o'clock. You can read into that what you want. And because Screwfix is in Farnborough and it starts on Friday, we will be on their stand from 7:30. The actual people can come in from 8 o'clock.
That's right,
and
yeah.
Farnborough isn't in Yorkshire. And we know how when you leave a boundary, and you're not allowed to leave a boundary, and as it isn't in Yorkshire, Gordon can't attend that one. However, he would be able to, if it was in Yorkshire, remain there until 5 o'clock. But I don't think we've really let the cat out of the bag there, Gordon, okay? But I would be very surprised why you had an ankle bracelet on.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Just a little bit of a mystery to me as well. Joking aside, we're looking forward to it. We're down at Screwfix, so I think there's about 8 of us. So there'll be red T-shirts everywhere. We'll be
All
on the
3
stand.
jaws will be there.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
The original, what do we call the original one?
OG
yeah.
Joe.
2.0.
Joe 2.0.
And what's the new one?
Joe 3PO.
Joe 3PO. So, yeah, we've got the 3 Joes down there. Okay, I think I'm going to try and man the stand all day. So I'm going to try and Iron Man it. So if you want to come along, I think they're going to give me some prizes to give away. I think something like the head torches, similar to what Rick's been wearing, to give away. You've got to scan a QR code. I'll take photographs. We'll do whatever you want to do. Yeah. We'll interact with you. If you want any technical stuff talking about and that, see Rick. He'll be by the burger van.
Did I see a picture of my wife? Was it just me sort of having? Did I see a picture of my wife flash up on screen earlier on with a comment there? Did it?
Yeah. Just checking in on you. Once you say make sure he's home for 9, his phone's going to ring regardless, and I can't do my own Gordon. Just checking in. Yeah. What is the time? I bet it's near, isn't it? Yeah, you got to get a move on.
But however, it's what? Oh, the dog.
Rubbing the dog.
Well, speaking of shows, actually, and it's a return trip for you, isn't it, for Farnborough? Because you were at Farnborough this week, last week as well, at the EI Live show, which was Smart Home, which is the other end of homes, which was a bit of a journey of discovery for you. We had David on a few weeks ago, and we got to, and you chaired a session down there. But Rick found some tools, didn't he, down there?
What? We're not going to a live Rick's Tool Time, are we? On location?
Rick's Tool Time, on location.
Rick's Tool Time.
Hello, welcome to Rick's Tool Time. Today we're on site with Sadie from Klein, Super Rod and Dizzy Fish. Today she's going to show us a little bit about the Supercam. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Would you mind showing us some of the features on the Supercam then, please?
Of course. I saw your short and absolutely loved it. So
Brilliant,
you probably already know a couple of the main features that I'll just reiterate. It's a really, really high resolution camera, which obviously beats quite a lot in the market. It's got the autofocus feature, so when you do actually set it down, say like in front of these tools, you can obviously, I mean, it's already kind of focused there, but you can see like the quality on the screen. Then another one that I really like about this camera is that if you actually rotate it, you can put it into a setting where it's always upward facing.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So if you're under floorboards or anything like that, you always know which way is up.
It's always upright.
It can get a little bit disorientating.
Yep.
Then the fact that it's got attachments on the back and the front makes it really cool. So it can actually make it into a little bit of a retriever, which obviously you demonstrated in your video. So you have the magnet end and the hook end that you can obviously put onto the front, and then you can like put that through pipes, and you can end up like retrieving things back. So in the set, it does come with these attachments so that it fits with the whole rod family. So you've got obviously a couple of rods over there. So you can have the camera on the end.
And is this the only option that we've got?
No, so this is the standard, but we also do have the Super Rod Max. It operates exactly the same, but because you can waterproof this camera just by adding the cap onto the back to cover the ports. But the only problem when you are going underwater is you can lose signal. So if you do lose signal when you're recording, obviously then you've lost your video. But the Max has an onboard memory, so if for whatever reason it does cut out, then you can still like retrieve the footage back, watch what you were doing, and then obviously reevaluate the situation and go back.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, so there we go. That's some of the features on the Supercam. So let's bring in Malcolm and we'll have a look at some of the rods, shall we? Now then, Malcolm, let's have a talk about the super rods. What is it we've got here? Can you do us a demonstration of them or show us some of them?
We've kind of entered the dark side with Dizzy Fish.
Yes.
And there's, as you know, we've been in the electrical space for a long, long time. And we've had dedicated kits purely for electricians for nearly about over 20 years now. And the easy thing to do when you come into a different market is give them what we've already got. And that's kind of where we started. But we partnered up with Dave from Dizzy Fish and actually I'm not using everything in the kit.
Yep.
We've always had this mantra of like listen, innovate, deliver. We said, right, well, the conversation starts now. What aren't you using in the kit, and also what do you want more of? So, for example, you know, here's the kit, but you know, one of the things they asked us to design was a little punch down tool here.
And what's that for then?
It's basically just for punching a hole in plasterboard.
Oh, brilliant.
You know, most people use a screwdriver.
Hopefully when it's not finished wall then, eh?
When it's needed.
When it's needed.
When it's needed.
Brilliant.
We're in a real life scenario
This is
here,
it,
not
this
sort
is
of
it, this is it.
Perfect. So basically we put a kit together with everything we do in, sent it to Dave and a load of his contacts for 6 months to work with it on a daily basis. And from that, they came back and they designed their own kit specifically for AV engineers. Now, of course, electricians can use it, but they may find a few bits missing from the kits they're used to. But for the AV specialist, we've addressed all of that. We've got extra long chains on the chain and magnet. We have 2 chains in the kit as opposed to 1.
Yep.
So lots of variants. But I think the key message was we didn't design it. We listened to the customers, listened to the consumers, saw what challenges they faced on an AV install, and we developed the ultimate kit.
Brilliant. Cheers for that then, Malcolm. Right then, let me know what you think. Is it great or is it a gimmick? Get your votes in. Let me know. Ta-da.
Fixture time.
All right, time to vote then. We need the public's opinion on the Super Cam, don't we? We're not going to do necessarily the rod systems, so we're going to ask you whether you think it's great or a gimmick from Rick. But that means one of us has got to summon the tool from above, but it's actually a camera from above. So I'm going to pick you, Shyel, we're going to do it together, so you're going to need to get on your hands and knees. There's no dignity in this.
Okay.
Let's move this high bay light.
Okay.
Hands and knees, young man.
My son's going to love this.
Yeah,
Hey,
so-
Leon.
Okay, yeah, so,
Okay, here we go.
so we're going to call it down with
Listen for that
some of the
proposal,
words
Gary.
Following, yes, while we're here. Do you want to do the proposal thing, or we're going to still save that to the end?
We'll say that to the end,
We'll
yeah.
say that one to the end. Your
Okay,
girlfriend
she
is
sounds
also watching.
staying tuned.
I need you to do the following call of "Too." So in order to encourage it down. So,
Is that good?
well, not good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, I'm sure it's fine.
You're not doing it, are you? So it won't come unless you do it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
There we go. She's down. Okay, so want to get it out for me, and then hopefully we can put it back up. So there we go. Fully down.
There you
I'd
go.
like to send it back up. So there she goes. Say goodbye to the tool from above. Okay. So, who would have thought when we started out, Gordon especially, yeah, that we would have been sending something under the floor that could see under the floor?
What, not like a small child?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we used to sometimes have to borrow this. We used to get like a small mirror in our domestic. So sometimes we had to shuffle through a few drawers and maybe look in the ladies' area in order to get a mirror. And then we used to drop it under, and you'd leave it on an angle as you look to try and look along to the other side. Okay, of course.
I just used to take the bathroom cabinet. You used to have a sliding cabinet with 2 doors. You just lift one of the doors out.
To drop it in there. So, of course, that was fraught with risk, obviously, if you break it especially, because it's 7 years bad luck, isn't it? And that's what you were thinking straight away, weren't you? Yeah. Don't walk under any ladders, do you, where you come from? So that was great. And then, of course, phones come along, didn't they? So then all of a sudden, we're dangling £1,000 in there, trying to give ourselves a bit of a chance. Seems logical sense, doesn't it, to have a camera that can obviously see what you're doing. And if you get the deluxe version, obviously, you can record it as well. But it'd be interesting to see what people's comments, because everyone who's got one says it's got them out the sticky stuff a couple of times, which paid for itself. Yeah. It's that miracle moment when you needed to find something. And I think understated is on EICRs, electrical installation condition reports, where you need to see, so you're a bit unsure of the wiring system, you can just send it into a roof, maybe through a light fitting, or you send it to a floor, just to have that inspection of the wiring under there as well. So that's important.
And you can take a recording of what you find as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Feed it back to the customer. Yeah, I think there's lots of great points in it. But of course, it's one of those purchases you've got to get to a state where you think, I'm in. So what are they saying, Gordon?
Being humiliated is one of the parts of the experience. And Darren Casey has enjoyed that, actually.
Oh, has he? I bet he has. Right.
He's filled his boots with that one. So,
Thanks, Dan.
That and your time, he's
won't be going
dining
to the
out
office
tonight on this. Overall, people think it's great.
Yeah,
And we have, just to point out, people think it's great, we'll bribe you a bit more. We have got one to give away in a few weeks. We've just got to decide how we do it.
So, because we think it's great, shall we play the short video that we discussed in there, just to see how...
That's how we used it here.
We're on the periphery of this. I think we're going to see us as well at the same time. So let's bring in the short video that Rick and Joe made, because I think when you see the end bit, obviously we're going to do our clicking, clunking stuff here as we get it out. I love a pouch, so I'm already in. Okay, I love the rod sets, always have done. We used it for the first time. We did a miracle fish, didn't we? First time out with a ball and chain. It just worked first time, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we did a light fitting. So in we go. So we're going to try and hook this out. So Rick's going to try. I think that's the hardest thing to do as well.
Yeah, retrieving something
yeah,
from the
with a
other end of
hook.
a duck.
Yeah, rather than using a magnet.
But it goes on the front of the camera.
Yep. So
Got
yeah,
the light.
bit of a chance.
To make it waterproof, which is what you want in a duck.
Yep. So here we go. So the rods are different flexibility based on their colour. I think yellow. I'm probably wrong. Yellow's the most flexible. I'm not sure, but yeah. So you learn your rod colouring depending on how much you want to bend it or how hard you want to whip your apprentice with it. So down we go here. So we can see the hook. And there we go, it's got it, and we're pulled out. That is, yeah, pretty good, isn't it, that we can do it that effortless in order to pull that cable through. And now, yeah, there's other ways. People can tell me all sorts of things there that I don't need to know. We were trying to demonstrate the point there, weren't we? People will say, well, hang on a minute, why didn't you just shove the rod from one end all the way down the other? Well, we know that, okay? We were trying to demonstrate the purpose of the tool. We once put a piece of cable tray in the car park to show you how brilliant it was to fit it together. And then people commented, why would you want some cable tray in the car park? Well, we don't want a cable tray in the car park. We wanted to show you how brilliant it was to fit. And it was just easier for us to do it there. So sometimes you just have to use a little bit of what's called your imagination, okay, in order to do that. Or like a new camera angle, that's a new one, isn't it? We're up high, so we're out there somewhere, so that is brilliant. So again, hopefully that sort of suggested that maybe our audience, Shyel, they might like it, so we're going to have to tell you what happens with the wall because you've got to place it.
Okay.
Down in the bottom left-hand corner is the coffee machine. Where is it now? Every time I can get that one just about there. So if it was the best thing since sliced bread, okay, it would be, stay down there, doesn't matter. It'd be up in that top, we say that's 11. So
okay.
Not to 10.
Okay.
So 11's better than 10. So if it goes to 11, I'll leave it up there. If it goes to 11, it's up there. If it's the Makita coffee machine down there, which doesn't make 2 cups of coffee in 15 minutes, which is the official length of a tea break, okay, and does completely flat your battery, which is a real bonus, okay, it goes right down there. Middle sections is you sort of start from the left-hand side, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s and 10s as we go up.
Sure.
So you can position it, Shyel, wherever you like on the board, as long as I can reach it next week if you put it in the wrong place.
Do you want me to put it or should I pass it to you?
No, you put it up.
Do I have it? Oh my gosh.
I've embarrassed you enough now.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, I love
yourself enough on the race wall.
I love an accessory. It's full of accessories, isn't it? I mean, it's simple and does a job, right? So for that's got to be pretty cool. And hopefully, if I put it right here, maybe I'll get a free one issued to me, right? yeah, there. It's cool.
Okay, good.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, again, I don't think it's the first tool you buy in your apprentice's toolkit. I don't think, and we'll come on to toolkits that can sort of service you a little bit more, maybe in a few months. A little bit of segue there. But I think when you get to a certain position, you'll go to it and get you out there. Yeah. I'd imagine it'll get you home early one night when you wanted them. Yeah. So I'm all up for that. So that's good. Test instruments then. Save for September. I'd like to personally say, and I'm sure Gordon's going to agree with this, I'd like to personally say thank you ever so much for supporting the campaign once again this year. It's sort of baked in with you now. I think people know when we get to that September that the campaign started, and it was from Andy for Safe for September and Edwin Clements, and also Princess Sparky's quite well behind it as well. There's other people as well involved in it. Yep. It's not just for September. I know why they do it in September because, again, colleges go back. And I've been into colleges. Milton Keynes College, I was there on Monday. Are they taking part in the Safe for September campaign?
There's a lot. Yeah. Colleges are back. That's what I'd say from the data coming in.
Yeah. So we're encouraging them for a start for that position. If you get the basics in there, obviously, as we move through as adults, and we're seeing a lot of those redoing it, aren't we, as to come? And we'll see how Joe got on as well because we've got his certificate as well. But I'd just like to say, thank you very much for supporting that campain.
Thank you.
And obviously you've got some prizes attached to it as well. Shall we see what would be a prize? So this is the empty box. So this is lovely, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
So that's the empty box.
So this is the TIS 8000 SI kit, which includes the open jaw voltage tester and clamp meter, importantly compliant to BSEN 61246 Part 3.
No, that's what I said.
243 Part 3.
243 Part 3,
Okay.
which means that if the battery's flat or the battery's missing, it will still indicate voltage.
Yes.
Importantly, it will do single pole voltage detection as well, contact and non-contact, important for pen faults, circulating neutrals.
Yes, I think we did that, didn't we? In our short video, we
did.
found a protective conductor that was carrying current. And I think we've got to go back in with words, according to some people.
Well, we need to figure out what's happening ourselves, because whenever our friendly local tyre fitter switches on his compressor, we end up with 3 amps flowing in our protective conductor.
Yeah, and importantly, we've got multimeter functions like resistance and obviously current and voltage and so on, diode checks and stuff. And the nice thing is, like I say, it's not got a dial on it, so you can't get it wrong. So as soon as it hits voltage, it immediately goes onto voltage and tells you that there's a voltage present, even without a battery or if the battery's gone flat, which is vitally important. As part of the kit as well, we get the proving unit.
Yeah, we do. I love a proving unit.
We've made it so that the proving unit also doesn't rattle around in the van. It sits in the pouch. You can access the proving unit actually in the pouch, so we don't need to do anything with it. Yeah. So that sits there. It'll house the tester. And then again, we can make sure that when we've turned off the right circuit, going through the correct safe isolation procedure, it stays locked off. And within the kit, we've got a lock, a unique key, which has got a serial number on it, so nobody coming in and inadvertently unlock your circuit and energise it again while you're working on it.
That's great. That's what you need. And I just said maybe the camera wasn't the first thing in Toolkit. I'd like to think something like this should be the first tool in, because that one mistake in it. You could argue when you're training, you're not going to be buying this, you'll be working with Electrician. But I know Marcus is massive with Eric on safe isolation. Everything he does, even if it's a brand new installed cable and they're going back to it to second fix it, he still makes him do the safe isolation process, prove everything's dead before he gets there.
The other thing importantly with this tester as well, and it's akin with all of our other elite voltage testers, if you like. We can replace the leads. So if we're lifting floorboards or opening tins of paint with the leads, and we damage them, not that would happen.
Okay, no.
We can replace the leads, so we can replace the tyres on the car. We don't have to buy the whole car.
Yeah, that's good. Again, that's a little bit of circular economy there again, isn't it? And leads do get damaged, don't they? Whether we like it or not, we half drop it and grab a lead and all the rest of it, and they can go. But again, to be able to remove them, that's brilliant, isn't it? Okay, isolate for life with the same bit of kit for life, maybe even as well. So
for people who've not got the budget at this time for the full TIS 8000 SI kit, hopefully there'll be some people tonight who win some.
Yes.
We do the more economically priced safe isolation kits if people have not got the budget at the minute for this particular piece of kit.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we're giving away, what, 1, 2, 3? How many?
We've got 3, actually. We've got 3.
How are we going to do this? Are we going to ask?
You're going to have to pick a number. I've got 2 spreadsheets here. There's numbers on that go between.
So we've got 3 people. We might as well all say a number. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
2 and 3.
What's the range?
Well, the range on the first one, so we've recently moved between CPD platforms. So there's some people did it on the old one because that's the legacy link out there in colleges and places like that. They access it through things. So some people have done it on the old system.
Which is through the know-how tab on our website.
Yep. Now we are moving across to our new training platform, training.efix.co.uk, which has loads of other advantages. Once you're signed up for that, you can keep your CPD certificates in one place and download them and sort of, always access them.
Can I break the news to them about signing up there as well?
Yep.
So obviously when you sign up, you're going to have to pay nothing to join that, so it's absolutely free. So we'll be taking all of that money on it. Or you can use the discount code eFIXX for 100% discount off the price. So it's totally free when you get in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? Have we ever thought about charging for this stuff that we give away
No,
for free?
no. As well as I said, the TIS, people like that support it, make it possible to happen. So the first one is you have to pick a number between 1 and 404, and I suggest not number 1 because that was me.
I was going to say.
I put myself out there.
Yeah. Well, I'll select number 2 then, the quickest person in.
No, you don't want that. I'd make it a bit further in because I did share my safe isolation certificate first out there. Rick was pretty close behind me.
Well, let's go. I'll go with my son's football shirt, number 9.
Number 9.
Wow, that's a good one.
Let's have a look here.
So back we go. The 9th person to do it, Caroline Routledge. Yeah, one of the
It was Arwell Hall, who was at Hall Electrical Wales. So good choice. And he actually got, I'll tell you, 20 out of 20.
Okay, so all round
Which is
good.
good.
So of course we're going to reveal the people that don't get 20 out of 20 as well. Fourth attempt, scrape through. So yeah, that's good. So what's great about this is, for a number of things, all those regular viewers, they're sitting there, they've heard a big sigh at home because they know what's going to happen. They'll never see the kit. It'll never get posted out because it'll go over to Joe in the post room. Okay, that never leaves the post room. But we've bypassed that, haven't we?
We're doing it.
Yes. So there is a fantastic opportunity for them to get it. Good turn up. Yeah, so they're like, dancing in the streets of Wales at the minute, aren't they? So they got it.
Go on, Steve. Pick another number up to
172.
170. Is that a special number for you?
No, just randomly thought of it.
172 is Michael Knowles. And we don't wait, he's at Mike at livewireets.co.uk. So there we go.
So we go all the way. So we're going to take us up numbers now, because if you've...
We're going to flop across to the older one, people in that one there, and you have to pick a number between. So this is all the people who did it in September, and I say over 1,000 people.
And we're still nowhere near the end of September, by the way. And it still is available forever to go in there and do it. And I think you should refresh every year.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, so you can go all the way up to 570.
Well, we'll go with our with 570 to reflect our AC/DC leakage clamp meter that's currently big seller.
Oh, well, there we go.
570. TIS 570 AC/DC leakage clamp meter.
Nice.
There you go. And that goes to George Harvell. So
It's only just done it.
Is September the 20th at 3:15.
It's brilliant. So, that's really good. So some early people, somebody in the middle, and somebody at the end. Yeah, I like it. And there'll be people still going on with that as well. But I've missed out. I'm crying in my soup. I would have loved one of those testers. You know, I've now got to go out and buy it. Is there anything we can give them a little tickle on?
Yeah, I think we've done a special deal with our wholesale.
I'm glad you have, because I led you in there and I thought we'd change it. Is that not 10% off of the certificate? Is that not what we're doing anymore?
Yeah, so for the rest of this month, you can turn up with your CPD. And I can't remember what price.
10% off. The street price.
With the trade price, the street
CPD.
price.
I can't remember exactly what the actual price was.
I can't either.
It's 10% less than it normally is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, the cynics amongst us will see it go up 10%. Yeah, so it's come down. No, it's good. So you get 10% discount with your certificate.
Yes.
Any electrical wholesaler or a certain one?
Any electrical wholesaler.
That obviously stocks the but I think I can get them in anyhow, can't they?
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere, yeah.
So again, you haven't missed out, okay?
No.
And again, the real winner is the people that have taken that CPD. The real winner are the people that have learnt maybe from some of the mistakes that we've mentioned, and obviously some of the terrible stories out there of people that have lost people. You know, even Tom Bickerton's chipped in there. That must have been hard to even write that. Okay, yeah. So it's important that we don't make these mistakes. Yeah, you go to work, you want to come home.
100%.
Yeah. Nothing worse. Yeah. That's good.
And we've got another collection here, haven't we?
This is Gary's toolkit. I like this one.
This is in the Roy Cropper bag.
Just explain Roy Cropper for the people who don't know who Roy Cropper is.
I'd have to watch Coronation Street.
Whiz, who does? If anyone's watching this who's watching Coronation Street, I say, yeah, really? I don't think I...
You've got a bit of a look at the Roy Cropper about you there, Gary. There's got a bit of a look at Roy Cropper, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You love a bit of that up north, don't you? A bit of Coronation Street, no?
I live in the south, I'm afraid. Please note, let's have a little look at Steve's watch as he goes in there. That's a nice watch, Stephen. Yeah, let's have a look at a little watch in there. That's a...
Hong Kong.
Is it made to look like something else, is it?
Exactly.
It looks lovely. If there's another one, 15 quid, I'll have one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sort you one out next year.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What's in your bag?
A lot of people have asked us to bring out a bit of a starter kit. So with our friends at eFIXX, that obviously we distribute eFIXX in the UK to electrical wholesalers, we've put together a bit of a starter kit. So you get 160mm diagonal cutters. The all sort of famous right-handed ergo strip. You get the 5-in-1 electrical installation tool.
I love them.
And then hashtag Save for September. We've put in a proving unit with a case, a voltage and continuity tester, which obviously sits in the back of there. And as Gary demonstrated earlier, you get a full lock-off kit with all the pin-out and pin-ins and locks. And when we've even thrown in an audible socket tester and an audible volt stick, all that fits in this nice case.
And
So
is that a bundle that I can pick up now, is it?
it's a bundle, it's available, it's out. We launched it about a week ago. So yeah, and they're flying off the shelf.
Okay, so yeah, probably those people maybe just taken on an apprenticeship. Oh, I don't struggle with this, but when you're brand new, so let's do one from Gary's heart. Brand new to college as a full-time learner, this looks lovely, very aspirational. Wait until you've secured your place on the course and you know you want to do it. If you're an apprentice, I'll go out and get one because you're on that journey, you've got the job and all the rest of it. Just give yourself, and I always say to people, try and get near the December month. I know not everybody celebrates it, but it is a national holiday, so you might not be actually at college. If you get to December and it's a full-time learner, you want to be an electrician, this should be something that maybe can be given to you in that period of time, whether you're on holiday or celebrating it.
Yep.
But as an apprentice, I'd say sooner you get it, the easier your job's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
That's good. And again, where'd I pick one up from?
Any electrical wholesalers, yeah. Or obviously we've got them at shows that we do and around the country. So yeah.
Website? Can I find them on the website?
Yeah, you'll know as well that there is a left-handed ergo strip as well available, not just a right-handed.
Okay, because I'm left-handed, I was a bit disappointed about it. Will the bag come both left and right-handed? Because that looks like a right-handed bag to me. Okay, so...
It depends which side you want the logo on.
I want it to be...
You want it on the
Yeah, so that's the right-handed bag, is it? Yeah, left-handed. Ah, right.
We
Okay.
turn that way, left-handed.
So again, would you have to, because I am left-handed, would I have to have asked for the left-handed one in the version? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what about the pliers? Are they left and right-handed and side cutters and things like that?
Right-handed only.
Yeah, right-handed only. There's always a catch in there. Okay, brilliant. Again, right on the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
As in, this is the right time to be launching it, and as people start their college journey or return,
Yeah, like I say, we're coming to that period where people give gifts.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but lots of people do.
Yes.
It's a national holiday.
people do, yes.
Played that one well, didn't I? So it's all good. Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. So again, website. I can see you at trade shows. Where's the next time at a trade show I might be able to jump into you?
We're at Exeter next week, eFIXX.
Okay. So
Yeah, we've got a few near pit shows coming up in October as well.
The next big one is install
Solar and storage.
Yeah.
who's going to that? Are we going to that?
We're going to that one, yes.
We're everywhere, aren't we?
Yeah, we love that show. That's a good, obviously, because solar, lots of stuff going on there. Get down there.
solar.
So, yeah.
Did I mention?
We're not going to solar this week, Gary. You've got plenty of airtime coming up on
We've got
solar.
we got it coming, haven't we? We've got it.
Pencil in for a 3-hour epic.
It's
And
great.
we've also got a competition coming up on the new downlights as
That's
well.
right, yep.
We're combined with, obviously, downlights. Great. You'd want to win the dim to warm one so you can try them yourself at home. But even if you're going to fit them on customer jobs, you can also win some of the Luceco head torches as well, which Rick has been modelling. Come on, Rick. Let's show you there. The Beyond Borg of the electrical industry. Look at that.
It's off now.
It is.
It looks so comfortable.
It's your last week as well, Rick, isn't it? So you're not going to be here next Wednesday. We just like to say Rick's not going to be with us moving forward on a Wednesday, and it is sad to see him go. But we wish him all the best in his new adventures as he obviously goes to pastures new on a Wednesday. So you are currently going to be studying at college. You're in your second year of your basket weaving and crochet skills. Is that what you're doing at the minute?
At the moment,
Yeah.
This is my cod.
Yeah, it's my mic on. I'm just going to rinse him. Yeah, it's my mic on. Lean into it. So, yes, you won't be with us because you returned to college, don't you? You've got a little stint to get his level 3 course completed as well. So we're seeing it from that point of view as well. So Joe's going to be on everything now. There ain't much you don't do, is there, mate?
No pressure.
Yeah, can't wait for the pressure. Apart from the post, you don't do the post. Okay.
Well, speaking about that, he has been...
Doing the post?
No, he's been analysing some past footage, Gary, from the last week.
I don't think we need to do that, do we?
I think we do. I think obviously you've been.
Feel free to but go off and do whatever you want now because it's.
Let's have a little look at what's been happening caught off camera.
Hello and welcome to Caught Off Camera, the section of a live stream where I dive through the past few weeks of content looking for hilarious mistakes made by the team. They often miss out words, sometimes even creating whole new words that don't even exist. So let's see what I found this week. Now, anyone who caught the last live stream a few weeks ago will have seen that Joe Robinson, or OG Joe as is known in the eFIXX team, joined us up north. Now, in this live stream, we presented AT&T Electrical with their Wholesaler of the Year award, which was sponsored by Aurora Lighting. Now, as Joe went about introducing them, let's just say that he struggled a little bit when trying to pronounce the name of the award.
And shedding light into the darkness, we've got the sponsor of that wholesaler.
Repetition is key, so I suggest Joe practices just a few more times before giving it another shot.
Wholesaler of the year, wholesaler of the year, wholesaler of the year.
That's coming along nicely. Let's see how he gets on now.
And bringing a little bit of light to the electrical darkness, we've also got the award. The sponsor of that eFIXX wholesaler The sponsor of that eFIXX Sponsors Awards, eFIXX Sponsoring Awards, awarding.
I think we'll maybe get an update on that one in a few weeks' time. And to say that Joe would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for being filmed on Gary's phone.
Yeah, it's all on Gary's phone, yeah, it's all these mistakes. Gary's got all my mistakes on camera.
Joe's day wasn't going too well, was it? And that wasn't helped when he received an invoice for Vic's latest fish and chips outing.
How much? No, we never agreed to that.
Poor Joe. We'll leave him alone for now. Moving on to Gary's recent antics. Now everyone stop what you're doing because this is a very, very rare sighting. Gary doing physical work. Did you spot it? Hope it's etched in your mind because that's the last time you'll be seeing that in a long time. And there we have it. After a few minutes, enough work has been done by Gary and he's back on his phone to check his SunSync Connect solar output. Back to his usual ways, I see. Speaking of Gary's solar, I think when he was having his install done, his mind may have wandered slightly.
Next part of the process for me was the scaffold tower. So a couple of scarcely insert a couple of scantily insert a couple of scantily clad, two scantily dressed, insert a couple of scantily clad.
Cheers for that, Gary. Very entertaining. Now I think both Joe and Gary are having trouble today when it comes to practicing their lines. So I thought I'd do them a favour and I've put together a nice remix of them so they won't forget again. Let's take a look.
A couple of scantily clad, scantily clad. A couple of scantily clad, scarcely clad.
That'll be released on Spotify, Apple Music and all your general streaming sites within the next few weeks. But for me today, that's it. We're going to go back to the live stream and join Luceco and TIS. And what we're going to do, Joe?
And we're going to have a chat with them about all of their massive stuff.
Good job I don't take myself too seriously, isn't it? I'd like to thank Joe was hoping that wasn't coming back and I'd forgotten to empty bin, obviously on my phone, so it was an easy retrieve today, obviously, and that just pulled itself together, which was great. So yeah, again, we don't take ourselves too seriously here. However, when it comes to safe isolation, we take ourselves incredibly seriously, and we just want to reiterate that again from the bit at the start of it. That wasn't any comical value in that. That was our experience as we've gone through the industry. However, for a little bit of a comedy moment, just to soften the area again, I think when you don't win the race wall, which when you only are the only person doing the race wall, you can only lose really, can't you? Okay, means you have to do a bit of tidying up at the end.
It does, yes.
That tidying process.
Last person cleans up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, what happened there? He's not in next time, is he? Oh dear, that's microscopic. Good job it's live, eh? Yeah.
Just to clarify, Rick is just not going to be on the live stream. He's not fully escaping to do full-time basket weaving. People are getting worried.
No, he's not going anywhere.
Shares in the local chip shop plummeted on that news.
Well, you had to go there, didn't you? Yeah. They'd be the only one to have half-mast with the old flag, wouldn't they? Rick's no longer at eFIXX, lunches and that. In Rick's defence, though, we generally eat at the same time as him, but we generally don't take photographs of ourselves. We went out for breakfast today, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Didn't take Rick with us, did we?
No, I didn't.
A little bit team bonding, wasn't it?
Yeah, put that out there early in the morning. It was good.
So
long days for live stream days.
They are long.
Have we got that image right? We've got someone cleaning up, Rick.
We got it now.
Okay.
Ah,
that's good. We don't need to sit under. We don't need to say, let's see that I can do the bit of house.
We'll put that out. Full sweep then, when you obviously the tool from above sweeping up, you had the full set of those ones as we go through.
But a few people must thank Greencable there who do sponsor the challenge roll, the cable. We're double dipping because Doncaster Cables give us the cable and we put it in the green cable bin and they're going to pick it up and we get the cash for that back in return. You want one of them hanging around?
And if you want your own one, link in the description still.
There is a link in the description. They are spreading out geographically.
Yeah.
There's about 200 people have signed up to the service so far, and obviously the more people who do it helps them expand the area. And it is the same rate you'll get off your regular scrapman. You just won't have to drive down there in your van and get verbally abused by the people at the scrapyard.
you kept that better than I thought it was going to go. Yeah, okay. Didn't mention the type of person that might be.
And you don't also have to have a fire in the backyard to burn off the PVC because they do recycle the PVC as well. Actually,
do they?
Yes.
Oh, wow,
yeah. So there is. It's not just
a double win.
Yeah. So it's not spending hours, taking your knife to the cable or buying one of these cable strippers. And also thanks to Richard Brooke, he also sent us in a £20 super chat earlier on.
He is a legend, that bloke.
Which I will be using down at the bar at Rendezvous when I drop these gentlemen off at the hotel.
Sounds good.
A bit later on, Gary, so
I've got no problem with that because I ain't drinking, so that's good.
Well, not with
Again,
£20,
he's had
you're
his
not, Gary.
anniversary again. He's had his anniversary being on Dragon's Den. He's put that back out there, isn't he, again, with his sockets. He always puts it out on his anniversary. It's been all over LinkedIn and social media. I can't remember. I think it's 5 years now. I'm sure he'll comment if it isn't, but I'd like that one as we went through as well. So that is really good. So talking of live streams, if you want to get in front of us before our next live stream and see us in this sort of more relaxed situation, which the live streams are, we're down this week on the Friday along with the Luceco group at eFIXX Live, and that is in Farnborough. It starts at 8 o'clock, so we will be down there from 7:30. So you want to quickly get over to us on the, is it the Luceco stand, the BG stand?
That's right.
It's a Luceco stand. So when I'm looking for it on the map, I'm looking for the words Luceco.
It'll be Luceco, but then there's also BG product also on there.
Okay, yeah.
You'll be there as well?
I'll be there. I'll be there in
Anyone
person.
else off the wall? Will Ian Peacock, not Ian Peacock,
he won't be there.
Ian Monkton be there?
I don't believe Ian's going to be there, actually, no.
So you won't see Ian gloating. You'll have to go on and...
Absolutely. So we'll be down there. So again, the sooner you get to us, if I've got things to give away, the sooner you get to me, the more chance you have of getting something free if you come to me right at the end of the show. I am a bit of a terror for giving stuff away, so they'll probably all be gone. So that's that. So we need to do the register, I think. So people have been frantically leaving their comments. So we're going to go over to Joe in the post room.
Frozen on the one camera angle at the moment. So
Right, okay. That's fine. So we're having a... Would you like to come and take my seat for me?
I don't have a mic, though.
That's all right. That's okay. I've got no problem with that.
I can do. Steve can do the register.
Steve can do the register.
Yeah.
Steve, still want to do the register, Steve?
Whatever it is, yeah.
Right, you've got to read out the names, haven't
You
you?
missed the electrician's challenge, so...
Have you got the names there, have you?
Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not going to be lasses with me, like, but
You've
that
just
might not be a good idea.
right. You've just got to read out all of these names here.
Or any name.
Pressure on.
No.
Right.
And try and look enthusiastic, Steve. People are watching this. Yeah, okay.
This is their big moment.
Yeah,
So is it Chris Static 100?
That's it. Yep.
Sean Dempsey.
Yep.
Riley Jarvis, the Sparky.
Yep.
Sockets.
Yep.
The Aviation 101.
Yep.
Jolly Fine Quality. Andrew Watson. Chris Home. Billy Torrey. Oriel Zob, is that?
Yep.
Carl Robson. Early Years Learning is Fun.
Gary's wife.
Gavin Geaney. Sergio Fernandez. Tom Bickerton. Terry Moore. Smart Spark UK. Ren Skylark. Kevin Osborne. Ian Clark. Jolly Fine Quality. Ollie. Joe Hammond.
Hey.
Sean Gorry. And Roger Brookfield.
Yeah. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
I'm not on there.
No. You carry.
I was just about to say, the carries we probably missed.
Matt Watts, Richard Cockerline, Sean the Spark, Stephen Skillen and ZK Electrical.
Oh, there you go. A natural.
It's likely to be loads of people that we've missed, and we apologise if we have missed them. Again, just stay about for as many as you can each week, and we'll try and get through those. And we don't know what technical issues we've had, but if you sort of lean in a little bit.
We'll lean in and join you guys for that. Right, so we've got the prize for the GT time. So the correct time was 5 minutes 55, and we have got an exact time. So that was channel favourite Sean Dempsey with 5 minutes.
Wow, how does he do it?
Sean.
Fair play.
And just want to I'm going to say, just want to temper you down here a little bit, Sean. Congratulations. You've got shouted out on the telly. The likelihood of getting a prize is what?
Quite high, Sean, because you just like to chase it.
He chases me personally for it. So, yeah, so if we can get him back, let's send him one of them nice new hats we've got or something like that. You know, so
We'll get that,
yeah. Do you know his address?
I've probably got it about 10 times by now.
Okay, let's hope. And Sean, if it doesn't come, I apologise. It's not personally my fault, okay? So I will try my hardest to get you something, so it's all good. But the people out there, obviously there's loads of people not had their prizes. These prizes will go out, though. We can guarantee those 3 winners of the Safer September prizes will go out because it's going to be done by your good selves, which is fantastic. And if we want one of these, we can still take a certificate at 10% discount. We can get one of these tool bags. We're rocking and a rolling, okay, is what we're doing. So who have we got on next time? Because this is pretty exciting. So who's coming on the stream?
We have got Darren Crannis from the ECA.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
So Darren is a very knowledgeable gentleman, isn't he?
Yeah.
So again, thinking 2 weeks out, probably this is a chance to maybe stretch some technical questions. Would we say if you went on the website and you used our Get Involved tab that you could send?
Yeah, fire the questions in. We normally pick up questions from all over the place. But yeah, put them in for Darren. Make it hard because he's coming up because he's obviously got some people he knows on that board.
There's a couple of Tape 64s on there.
And he wants to prove a point.
Does he?
So we love it when people come in hyper competitive, wanting to get to the top.
Yeah, Mark Coles was no mug when he did it, was he?
Yeah.
So he's at 417 there. Obviously, Shaheed wasn't very good. He'll beat Shaheed. So Yeah, we nearly beat Shyel today. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. But we want some technical questions. He's got a co-guest with him. We've got 2 in on that time.
We're just sorting that out at the minute. Yeah, we're just juggling it around because the installer, the one's back on the 18th now. So,
yeah,
we're juggling it around. But, yeah.
We've got some people coming on that, so it's good. So exciting times, great stuff coming. If you joined us today on Facebook, thank you very much. We're still trying to work on how we can respond to the comments we get on Facebook. We will go back and dip in and look at that if you're watching us on Facebook. Obviously, most of our people are currently watching on YouTube, but we do get a good following now, don't we, on these live streams on Facebook. We had some wonderful guests this evening, haven't we? We've had... we've had some wonderful guests, haven't we, Mark? We have absolutely wonderful. Yep. You haven't been a problem all night. You've sat there looking the normal colour, so no one's had to adjust their TVs. Yep. I see Mr. Mahogany over there, people are up and down, trying to get it tuned in order that we can do that. So, Shyel, thank you very much for joining us from the Luceco Group, and I will be spending Friday with you.
Yes.
We're still talking when we get down there. And again, Steve, thank you ever so much for everything you do for us, as well as the industry. Thank you. And Mark, you're still possibly my favourite guest I've ever had, and now we've been on twice. Yeah, you're just such a nice gentleman, and it's it's awesome.
And Mark the Spot Alison sent £10 in, Gary.
Oh, did he?
So we can have another beer down there. So
it's
you can
unbelievable, my bad luck. It's just a run of bad luck all the time. Yeah, I've got to go back to the landlord's house in order to have a kip. So that's good.
Landlady's house, Gary.
Did I say landlords?
Yeah.
Shows how tired I am. Shows how tired I am. I'm just absolutely fatigued. However, we couldn't put this show on fortnightly without the help of the great people. And they're even here this evening, okay? Our headline sponsor, which is the Luceco Group, they bring us great things like the Luceco lighting that we're seeing tonight. They bring us things like BG and the Sync EV charger, both single and 3-phase. We'd like to thank the good people at Doncaster Cables, Luden Palazzoli and My Energy. Without their great support, we wouldn't be with you every 2 weeks. So that's great. Now we're holding on because we have made a few adjustments to the end credits, so it's worth staying on to the very end. And if you have enjoyed this, maybe you could also throw us a thumbs up as you exit the video after you've seen the credits and see who's in there. These guests have been amazing. It's great to have him back. His phone's been vibrating like mad. He's going to have to answer the question why he wasn't at a phone at 9 o'clock, and you won't be seeing him in Farnborough because that's not in North Yorkshire. See you in 2 weeks.